Hello and welcome back to another video of Power Grid Create Mod. And today I will be talking about the Basin, some magnets, as well as the punch card and some other stuff. But before that, I would like to explain my frustration, starting with this. Before I get into all that background stuff, I had found a comment that was suggesting that I should use these Basin heaters as a different power source for these blaze burners. Now these blaze burners do cost fuel and they do cost blaze cakes, which can be automated, but it does take a while. However, I personally found out that these Basin heaters, if you look on them, cost 161 volts, which is a lot of voltage for something like this, but they're basically the same thing. There's no added benefits, obviously. So this is a tier 2. If I reduce the torch from 231, which requires it to be 230 to be a tier 2 to 162, it'll go back to tier 1. As you can see, if I were to put this down into regular into the normal blaze burner with the charcoal, you would have gotten the same result. So with that being said, I have taken upon me, and over here you can see all my failed attempts to try to make that work. Over here I did try to see if I can get it to work with normal bamboo farm, but that doesn't work, so I decided to just do a full blaze cake all over. So this is like my first one, a tier level 13 boiler powering all of this stuff. Now this did blew up on itself, but as you can see like the voltage drop and everything. You can see it's changing voltage, and then over here I have it powering the third version of this with about 8 or 7 Basin heaters. I was only able to power 2, but only for a short period of time. These two over here are the beginning ones where I wanted it to power itself. However, it seemed like it wouldn't work, especially the smaller one. Now over here, this is my most successful attempt. This one I disconnected, so it's not actually part of this, but I have a level 6 boiler powering all of these on and turning on one keyword Basin heater. Each one was supposed to provide at least 200 volts each, but seeing how it's struggling to turn this one on, I'm not sure if it's 200 each. But this is like the most successful one due to the fact that if it does go over 161, it will begin discharging the voltage and actually reducing the motor speed and actually stalling it a bit. As you can see, as if it was like an actual magnet. So it will slow it down and speed it up, and you can see that it's slowly stalling. But because I have 3 of them, they're all still continuously spinning and also still producing power. This one does work. It's still level 1. I don't know how I'm gonna get 231 volts to that with these, but I did try to use a transformer. That didn't work as well because it also began to stall. Over here I have 2 generators this time instead of the 3, but this one barely turns on for these to turn on. Now if I were to activate this, it would speed it up to turn it on, but then I would just need a regulator and it would just explode. So that's completely fine. I did try to work this out with a regulator tube. I still don't know how to do the calculations for that. That's still at least a little bit difficult, despite me going to school for that. That's pretty much my entire journey, like an entire day trying to figure that out. But over here I just have a basic example as you saw earlier in the video. If you are going to use this, I would recommend you get like same 3 generator setup right here. Only difference is set up a step up transformer, maybe a larger one or a smaller one, whatever you choose. Let's get on to the miscellaneous stuff. Over here we have the same thing, the Basin burner or Basin heater that can be used obviously for mixing as it was originally intended. I'm going to show you. I'm going to make some brass. And as you can see, this is on the lowest setting too, so it shouldn't take too long. And there we go. We got some brass from that. Over here is the electromagnet. This is supposed to make magnets using iron. However, when I was testing this, it kept crashing on me. And I think it was due to the fact of that train over there that I haven't finished yet. So in the event this does continue to crash on you, you can just do the most simplest thing ever. Simply wait for thunderstorm like this, and Throw an iron down, and with the trident, with channeling, if you have the ability to afford that, simply throw it right there. And here you go. You have a nice little magnet for you to use. Now these magnets can be used to make the electric motor. Next, before I get into that, we have the, what's it called again? Punch card reader. This can actually send signals into other light bulbs. It's not that difficult, or it's not that scary at first, because essentially you have your common. This is where your power is, by the way. This is where you connect the power, and then 1 2 3 4 4 5 6 7 8 all labeled right here. And then you would have yourself something like a punch card with a motor turning it, and this speed indicates how fast it would move. And then obviously you have a voltage flowing through here, and essentially this acts as like a positive side. So you would basically connect this to one end, and then connect the negative back into your generator system or your grid. So reset, that's a reset button, by the way. We have 8 7 6 5, and then if you go to 4, it wouldn't do anything really. There you go. Right click and watch it go. Now you heard another button press, but that fourth one wouldn't light up because it's not actually connected to anything. So that's why it's not going to be lighting up. You can use this for some other stuff. I'll actually show you to you with the cathode tube. Over here we now have the, what's it called, plotter. This basically measures how much voltage you have in your system and acts as like a little display for it. So I set that to 40, and as you can see, if you're wearing the engineer's goggles, it tells you what you're at and how much voltage you're getting for the past few seconds. So you can see, or ticks, I think, if that's correct. This can go either up to 100 or can go down to negative. Now you can edit this in the front to show the max voltage, so 2000, 220, 200, and 2000, and it will adjust to that as well. If it sets at 2000, it's going to drop back down near the center because it's not that high. If I were to move that up, now it's going to start moving. But we just set that back down to 200, and as you can see, it's starting to max out and go back down. And then when it goes to 0, it just centers itself into the middle of the graph. You can dye this. You can dye the this black line in the middle if you like, but yeah, that's pretty much it for the cathode tube. For the cathode ray tube, this actually did require some setup. As you can see, you got some information down at the bottom. The anode is 1000 volts, which actually is, I'm correct, where is it? This piece right here, that requires 1000. Deflection is 20, 12, and the grid voltage is -10. Now the grid voltage basically allows for that dot in the middle to get brighter or dimmer, depending on what you choose it to be. It's that little dot in the middle is supposed to move around if you were to change the Y and X deflection. Setting it up though, an entirely different story. Obviously you want to connect the anode and the cathode into a generator. So I have this generator back here just working with a step-up transformer to pass enough voltage to get that to allow it to actually show on the screen. However, you also need a heater. You also need to connect the heater up, which is back here. So you have the heater connected to the cathode, which basically displays this piece, which allows you to display the piece fully, or at least just the dot in the middle, if you call that the display. Next, if you want to control this, as in the animation, it does show it moving around. You can change the position of the dot using the deflection coil. So as you can see, they have it as a circle. I have no fucking clue how they managed to do that, I'm going to be honest. Essentially, I have something very simple. I have these punch cards using the same punch card machine. I put one here. You can see it make a triangle. In the first punch card, essentially, I have 1 and 2 connected, and then I have this power source of 20 volts. That's the amount that the maximum amount really that allows. 30 just wouldn't it would just go over, and really wouldn't do anything much. Actually, you would just connect the wire from the common again, and then connect these two outputs from number 1 over to the Y deflection, and then if you put 2, you will connect that to the X deflection. So if it's 20 volts Y, you will go 20 volts up in the X direction if it's positive or negative. Obviously, I set this to positive, they will go up for positive, and then left for negative or left for positive. I don't know why it does that, but I'm pretty sure they have it backwards. And this also works in the negatives too. So we have a negative 20 volts, and as you can see, it makes a little triangle. Now you can't speed this up to like with the motor. Yeah, as you can see, it speeds up and basically just shows you a line. I don't know what you could use this for. Obviously, since we have the relays, you can probably use this on the deflection tube to make either Doom or what's it called, play bad apple animations on this, which is really cool, by the way. But nonetheless, that's pretty much it for this video. I still want to work on that train back there to see if I can get working lights on it to make so people can make passenger trains, or at least that's the idea of it. If there's anything else you want me to do, I will look through the comments and start hearting them and liking and maybe even responding to any that you guys would like me to see. As always, have a good day.